everyone. So today I thought I would show you my favorite summer salad. It's difficult to find salads that feel nourishing enough to have as a meal. This one has everything. It has a bit of your protein, it has 6 veggies, 2 leaves, 2 herbs, a dressing, something crunchy and something creamy. Is that not what you want in all your salads? Okay, so let's start with the leaves. The best way they are eaten, in my opinion, are chopped. So I love making sure everything is well chopped, easier to put into your mouth, get everything into one bite. With arugula though, it's quite small in itself, so I would usually just grab it and give it a rough chop like this. We're gonna be making a salad for about 2 people today. Sometimes just for 1 if it's me, but for you guys, maybe for 2. And we're just gonna start layering it in. So I've chopped up the arugula, we're gonna throw it in there. Next up, we have our little baby gem lettuce. These ones are actually have different colors, which is so beautiful. And with that, just grab hold of your lettuce. And again, we're roughly chopping it. That in. And next we've got the radicchio, which I've just been told potentially is called radicchio. So whether it's radicchio or radicchio to yourself, just use it. It's great, it tastes delicious. And we're just gonna slice it up like this, very thin. Ah, the colors are already so beautiful. Next up, let's do the veggies. So with carrots, obviously you're gonna peel them. Raw food is already quite difficult to digest, so the skin is there to protect the carrot, and which means that it's got a harder exterior, and so we don't need to digest that. It's not got any beneficial qualities, so better to just take it off so it makes the carrot a little bit easier to digest. Gives your belly a bit of a break. Chop off the top, and then let me show you a utensil I like to use. You can just simply grate it, or you can be extra. This is probably like $10 or something. You can get it off Amazon, but I just love the way that it makes that it grates the carrots. It almost makes it into fine matchstick things. It's a little bit thicker than grated, but I just like it. It gives it a bit more of a crunch rather than getting soggy. So chuck that in. Next up, we have our cucumber. And remember, all of this is something you can pre-cut. Chop them up, keep them in airtight containers in the fridge. All of these chopped up, except for tomatoes, will last at least a good 3-4 days. Tomatoes, once you chop them up, they go a bit soggy, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. But the rest of them should do perfectly. I'm gonna chop this in 4. I cut it in half and then in half again. I'm using little baby cucumbers, but you can use a long one too. And we're just gonna... Next up, what should we do? Let's do our peppers. So I've got a red pepper. You can use your yellow pepper. You can use an orange pepper. I'm actually just gonna use half a pepper. And with this one, I'm gonna cut them in long lines and then just cut it in half once. I like to cut things in different shapes for the salad. I find the textures sometimes are different. Like with this, if you chop them up really fine, you don't really get a good crunch to it. The same with the carrot. So I actually like doing different shapes for different things. It visually looks better, and also the bigger you keep the veggies, the more you're going to be able to taste them. And so you can decide which ones you want to be more prominent in the salad depending on the size that you cut them. Next up, let's do the fennel. Fresh fennel looks like this. What you want to do is take off this part. It's really hard and stringy, so you don't want this part. But it smells phenomenal. And these bits you can actually still use. This is the herb dill, which actually grows off fennel. So you can use this and put it into your salad, garnish with it. Sometimes I throw them into soup, so you don't really need to waste them. And hey, if you want to keep the stalks for your stock, if you make your own vegetable stock at home, then these stalks will be perfect for that because they contain a lot of flavor. But for this, cut it like that, leave that aside. The end off, and then again we're just gonna thinly Okay, so I'm gonna transfer it into a bigger one. Now this looks a lot bigger, But I like to present my salads nicely. I'll often do it in this just for myself, okay? So I'm gonna pour it all into here. Again, I said this is a salad for 2 people. But I mean, look, that depends on how much salad you like eating. I could eat this whole thing by myself, okay? Don't judge me. So there, doesn't it just look so much prettier when you can see all the colors? So tip, make sure you have a big plate, larger than you expect, extra large, so you can also mix it all up together. So let's throw in the fennel. Fennel, by the way, if you've not tasted it, phenomenal flavor. It's got a bit of sweetness to it, it's super crunchy. Actually, when you cook it, it loses its flavor, but still has this really wonderful, juicy texture. So sometimes I'll bake it and put it into my salad too, which tastes so good. Next up, we will do our radish. We're just gonna do thin slices. It's round and we don't have anything round in there yet, so. Oh, actually, let me show you something. I'm not using it because I don't want you guys to feel like there's so many utensils you need for this. But if you ever feel too lazy to slice these thinly, or you find that it's a tricky thing for you to do, this is a mandolin. It's great for salad things like this, but also if you ever want to make really thin, like potato fries, or it cuts everything. It's got so many different functions. And again, it's not that expensive, so worth an investment. But look, just does that. No pressure. Perfect. So then we have our radish. Oh, so pretty. And lastly, out of all the veggies, we have our tomatoes, or tomatoes, as I like to call them. I feel like I get a lot of varied response about tomatoes. Some people really dislike them raw and will take them out of their burgers or their salads, and some people, like me, really enjoy them. So with the cherry tomatoes, I'm using cherry tomatoes, the sweet cherry tomatoes, and we're just gonna cut them in half and then half again. That's all of our veggies cut, and imagine you had already meal prepped that. That would have been like done. Next, we are going to do our herbs. Herbs joining me today on this episode are going to be parsley and mint. So I'm just gonna roughly chop them. Yeah, it looks like a lot of it, but I'm telling you, the flavor is necessary. So I've just kind of folded it in half, and then we're just gonna finely chop them. Sprinkle that on. Next up, we have our trusted mint. Oh, the smell of it is just so lovely. And we're gonna take off the leaves from the stalk. Now, the reason we do that is, stalks, the texture isn't that great to eat. As you can tell, look, it doesn't really chop very well. But if you are making a chutney, you can use the stalks. I find that they tend to be a little bit more bitter than I would like. So I just take the leaves off, and then we're gonna chop them up. Throw that in. Forgot about this veggie, didn't I? But I guess this could be added to the creaminess category, or the veggie. But avocado, so many healthy fats in there, and just fantastic. So for the avocado, I just chop it in half. Oh, that's a good one. Score it out, like so. And then across. Ta-da! Yay! Then we're gonna chuck it in here. The way that I like to know whether it's good enough is it should be firm enough where when you press on it, it doesn't go all the way in, like you don't feel like it's squidgy, but when you press it, it almost leaves a bruise. Like you feel like you could bruise the avocado just as you press on it. The other way that I've been taught, if you take this off and it's still green, like this, then it means that the avocado is most probably not ready. But if you take it off and it's like a brownie color or a deeper yellow color, that means it's probably ripe and ready for you to eat. Let me just show you how to chop up these dates and the spas. So these are the pepperoncinos. You can get them whole like this, or I think you can get them sliced too. But if you get them whole, that's exactly what you're gonna do. Slice them up. Wonderful. Now what should I do? I'm gonna show you how to chop the dates up. So I use Delgat dates. Delgat dates. One of those, but they're not the Majdour dates. These have a firmer texture. They're not as gooey sweet. I find that can get a little bit sickly if I have too much of it. So these have the sweetness you need. They're not too sweet, and they have a great texture. So with this, again, we're just gonna chop it up like so. Oh, and get them pitted so you don't have to waste time taking the pits out of the dates. Perfect. Next up we have our quinoa, so our protein. I have already pre-cooked this, and again, you can do it in batch. Cook 1 whole cup of quinoa, and it's really easy. You put a cup of quinoa to 2 cups of water. I threw in some bay leaves too, just to give it a little bit of flavor, and some salt, and that's it. Then you can keep this in your fridge and just add it to your salad. So we're gonna add that in. So just throw your pumpkin seeds into a pan. That's on low heat, by the way. And you don't really need to put any oil in, because the seeds, when they warm, they actually release oil, and you'll notice that as they get heated up. These I actually keep as a snack as well. Once I've made these, I'll just keep them in a jar, and I'll just snack on them during the day too. So, you know, you can make these way in advance. These stay crispy and crunchy if you just keep them in an airtight container. And you don't need to put them in the fridge, just keep them out. So what you'll start to notice is you'll hear popping sounds. They go from being flat seeds to little round ones. That's when you know that they are getting crunchy. So when they start popping, keep mixing them around, because we don't want them to burn. And that's when you add in your nutritional yeast. I add that in for flavor. I really love the taste of it, but also it's a good source of vitamin B12. So I say, why not? And actually, to help the nutritional yeast stick, I'll sometimes spray a little bit of oil, and that's it. Then it sticks to the seeds. And then sprinkle some salt. I'm using flaky sea salt. You can use normal sea salt if you want. And that's it. That is the crunchy part of your salad done. So let's leave it aside while we make our dressing. This makes me laugh right now, because every time Jay comes in, he's like, you've just made the salad. How is there just so much mess? Like, I don't understand what's happened. But this is pretty much me every time I cook, so. We have strengths, we have weaknesses. So for our dressing, we're gonna grab a jar, hold on. For the dressing, pour in your olive oil, then add in a scoop of your mustard. You've got agave to bring the sweetness, and a lemon for the zesty, zingy flavor that you need. Add in the salt and pepper. And lastly, your herbs, oregano and basil. And then give it a good old shake. This dressing will keep for at least a week in the fridge. So you can just keep it in your jar in the fridge and take out whenever you want it. Oh, you could use this dressing on your salad, but also if you make any vegetables and you want to marinate them, like asparagus, this would be delicious. Marinate your asparagus and put it into the oven. Yeah, any veggies, salads. Good for all. This salad has come to an end. We finally created this beautiful masterpiece. I feel like I've complicated it for you all, but really it's very simple, and I keep saying this. You just have to be prepared. So let's mix it all up together and add in our dressing and our crunchy bits. One thing I will say is, if you feel you're not going to be able to finish this whole salad, I would recommend adding in the dressing on each individual portion, because once you add the dressing in, it's going to go soggy and you won't really want to eat it the next day. But this should save till the next day too. So if you want to make it for 2 days in advance, you definitely can. Just leave the dressing till the moment you're about to eat it. Okay, so who's ready to eat some delicious, vibrant, rainbow colored lunch? I definitely am. This looks so wonderful. A lot of people have asked me about salad and Ayurveda, and naturally raw food is not recommended in Ayurveda, but there's a little trick to, if you want your body to be able to digest it properly and better, then adding the oils, which is the healthy fats, and adding black pepper and lemon. All these 3 things actually help to break down the raw food and help you digest it so much better, and actually stimulate your digestive fire. I'm sure you also saw I added in ricotta. There's a cheesy aspect to this salad, so you can add in your ricotta or your parmesan. Today it was ricotta for me. But first of all, let's do a prayer of gratitude. There are just so many people that we can thank within this meal. The amount of people that have gone into growing all these different ingredients. Just really go back to the people that have grown it, the sun that's helped those people grow the crops, and all the way back to God for providing us with every single thing that we possibly need to nourish our bodies. So let's take a couple of seconds just to feel that gratitude in our heart. Amazing. And now let us dig in. Oh, this is honestly like, when I see fresh food in this way, when I see fresh food in this way, I feel like it fills my heart so much more than any junk food, any, even pizza and bread for me, which is probably my favorite things. There's just so much beauty in food in its natural state. I got the flavor of everything in that one bite. It was a big bite, but it was worth it. Oh, the sweetness of the date the creaminess of the avocado, the crunchiness of the carrot and the radish, the zestiness of the dressing, everything together, just beautiful. When you think about a meal in this way, where you're really thinking about every aspect of it, the flavor, the texture, the visual, it almost starts preparing your digestive system to eat it. So your body is already ready and welcoming it by the time you sit down to eat. And so that's why I think it's so important. All of this that we've spoken about during this video is such a mindful way to prepare the food. You're really putting so much thought into what's going into your body. Sending you all so much love and gratitude, and I hope you have such a wonderful weekend. Hey, have you subscribed to my channel yet? You! Subscribe to my channel right now. What are you doing? There's no need to be scrolling on Instagram right now. The most important thing is to go and subscribe and leave a comment too, so I can get to know you, just like you're watching me right now. Okay? Thanks.